like I have like harm thoughts, and like I want to know like what more I can do to like stop those thoughts
Mm-hmm.
from coming in.
Mm-hmm. So self-harm thoughts, they're really intrusive. They're making you feel like you want to harm yourself,
Like harm others or myself,
harm others, or yourself. Okay.
like put myself in a bad situation.
Yeah. So say more about that. Do you mean like you're putting yourself in a bad situation as like you want to go into a place where you might get hurt or a place where somebody might harm you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I place that someone gonna harm me.
Somebody's going to harm you. So almost like you're putting yourself in a really high risk situation, knowing that you could in fact end up being harmed.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that stem from a want to not care for yourself at all, like just a lack of general concern, or is there an intent behind the action of putting yourself in that situation?
I
Like, no,
think
go ahead.
a lack of concern. Like I don't. I'm like I grew up very sheltered, so like I don't know why I have like all these thoughts like coming through my head. Like I'd be sitting down and then like the thoughts of like harming my nephew or someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't
Hmm.
know why I have those thoughts.
So I think to normalize it a little bit, I think that a lot of people will have those occasional thoughts of like, what would happen if I were to do this thing, or you suddenly get the urge to do this thing, but there's that it's that little piece inside your personality that I think a lot of people will get that feeling, and then there's a check that says, you know what, I'm not going to do this thing for whatever reason. So um, it's kind of like you think of like the good and the evil, the angel and the demon. You often see that metaphor in drawings and stuff, like the good angel is telling you to do the thing one way, and the bad angel is telling you to do the thing, or the demon's telling you to do another thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got those little voices inside your head, and I think most people do. It's not so bad if you've got the voices, the things, as long as it's not commanding you to do the thing. So let's say,
Yeah, it's commanding me. Like
so
I
you
have
feel like it is.
schizophrenia paranoia too.
Okay, okay, so you do have schizophrenia, paranoia, and so just because you have the condition doesn't mean that's what you are. So I mean, I know we've seen people, you see people say things like, I'm a schizophrenic, and I don't know if you identify as that way. Most people don't like to be defined strictly by their illness, but like if you've got this thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that's all you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you taking any medicine to help you with that?
Yeah, I'm taking Latuda.
Mm-hmm. Latuda's,
Yeah.
has it been helpful for you? How long have you been taking it?
I've been taking it for like 3 months now.
Okay. So that's usually more than enough time for it to get to work. Do you feel like it's been working?
Yeah, it's been making me think clearly
Okay.
and
So,
like doesn't give me racing thoughts.
well, that's good. So all right. So how do you stop it? You don't have the racing thoughts anymore, but you still do get the voices occasionally that are telling you what to do, like to do this thing.
Yeah.
But you haven't
It's
done it
not
yet.
voices, it's just like symbols and signs and imagery.
Symbols and signs and imagery. Okay. So
Yeah.
there's the symbols and the signs. Let's say, give me an example. So you're sitting on the floor, you're playing with your cousins, and you see something like a paper turned a certain way, and that triggers you to think the paper's telling me to do XYZ.
No, yes, I'm not a paper, but just like my imagination just think, oh, I should use that paper to cut my nephew or something.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
like like that. But it's just like or something random like I scratch my back and then like I just think as sexual like I have sexual intrusive thought too.
Mm-hmm.
But like after I get rid of my sexual intrusive thought, I have harm intrusive thoughts after that. So like yeah.
So, okay, you have the intrusive thoughts of the sexual nature, and then you want to self-harm.
Yeah.
So
But
when
like
you go ahead.
I get rid of my sexual thoughts and then I have harm thoughts that come after. And it's like it's telling me to do stuff. Like it's giving me instruction to do this and that to a person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like imagery. Is that schizophrenia?
Imagery doesn't necessarily equal schizophrenia, no. I mean, schizophrenia can manifest in a whole bunch of different ways. Typically, it's about like, again, you're going to be having the intrusive thoughts aren't necessarily schizophrenia. They could be, but it's when they turn to be more like a command in nature. So when you're feeling like you're driven to do a thing because of the stimulation that you're getting. So if you're getting those forceful commands from whatever symbology that you're seeing, and it's making you feel like you're compelled to do those things, then that's when it's going to be necessarily, hey, that might be something that's a factor for schizophrenia. Going back to the sexualized thoughts that you were having, if you're having the sexualized thoughts, and then after you've gotten away from the sexualized thoughts, then all of a sudden you start to feel as if you want to self-harm. Is that because you're feeling some kind of negative connotation from the sexual thoughts?
I don't know.
Okay. So and then another thing that comes up from when people have schizophrenia, something that often stems from it is, are you feeling as if is anybody else seeing the things that you are seeing?
No.
Okay, so then that's a good indicator, right? So
Yeah.
your mom and dad or whomever is there, and they see that they don't see this thing when you see the symbologies. Okay, so then, I mean, you've already have the formal diagnosis of having schizophrenia, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Latuda has been helpful for you. Are you seeing anybody for therapy?
No. I'm
No.
gonna see someone for therapy on the 26th.
Okay, that's a ways away yet. Still 13 days. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, with time, so the best treatment for schizophrenia is medication and therapy, right? I mean, that's the number one recommendation for most mental health diagnoses too, is that you want to be able to have a supportive voice to help guide you through the process, which is also supported by the medication piece, which would address the chemical imbalances and stuff in your brain that make you have these feelings, cause you to have these thoughts. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So immediately in short term, the things that you could do in order to stop yourself from having these thoughts are, like, what have you tried?
Word mantra and like mindfulness.
Mm-hmm. How do you do the mindfulness, the word mantras and the mindfulness? How do you do that?
Like I just focus on like what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, like
Mm-hmm.
my senses, and then like I just say, oh, like don't think bad thoughts, don't think harmful thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
and that usually works.
Yeah, so you do a lot what we call that reality testing, right? So sometimes when you have like a really strong bout of these things, when you've got these feelings and these thoughts that are coming on, you do
Hmm.
some reality testing to say, hey, my senses are telling me that this thing is not here. My brain might be telling me that this thing is not here. But fortunately, your schizophrenia is not one that you're feeling so, the word, you're not feeling the auditory hallucinations. You're not feeling sensory hallucinations. It's not like you're not feeling crawling bugs on your skin and stuff like that. You're seeing things.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So that's a good thing. So the good news is you're already working towards the recovery, or coping with your illness by taking the medication. You already have the diagnosis. You already have a therapy appointment. You already got some skills in the bag. You're working with the skills. So those are all great steps. So it's like I don't know how old you are, but the thing that always comes into my mind is you've had your entire life to develop these things. You know, schizophrenia typically develops between the ages of 16 and 24. So
Hmm.
you've had how much time in your life to develop these symptoms and the coping skills that you've used to cope with it. And it's going to take you a long time to be able to learn the right coping skills in order to help yourself get through this too. And hopefully through the combination of therapy and through medication and using the therapy coping skills and the skills that you're already using, you're going to be able to eventually build up a resiliency, kind of like, you're building a house or you're building something to kind of help you get through what you need to do to
Hmm.
succeed. But it's going to be a slow process. It's not going to be something that just occurs overnight. But the 26 is a
Okay.
long way away.
Hmm.
Especially, I mean, if the thoughts get, so when you're having these thoughts, do you feel like for instance right now, do you feel like you are a danger to yourself or others based on the things that you're going through right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you do, so the options are, so I mean, like, there's the baseline feeling of
Like,
go ahead.
I'm not in danger because like
Mhm.
I go outside, I don't get those thoughts when I go outside meet people, but like when I'm out alone, I get those thoughts.
Okay. So staying stimulated, staying engaged helps your mind not to ruminate and change things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then that's good too, because that shows that you're able to interrupt your thoughts and put something else into place. Like you're saying, you're using your vocalizations to tell you that this is not real. I don't want to do this thing, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So that's great. You've got the foundation to be able to help yourself through this. Trying to think. I was going to say something. It's a difficult place to be, but I think you've got great foundation to do it. You would want to develop a list. That's the word I was looking for. You want to develop a list. You've mentioned several great skills and things that you can do to help yourself get through it. But you'd want to develop a list of safety things that you can do to help yourself along the way too. So let's say one great coping skill for yourself might be what? Some people like to draw when they get into the moment. Some people like to listen to music. They might suck on an ice cube. They might put an ice cube on their skin. They might eat some super hot food or some candy or something that just jars your senses a little bit. So you're working to interrupt that neurological component to the schizophrenia. So if you got that stimulation and you see those triggers and you're like, hey man, that's not real. Body, I think that's another reason too, like people will engage in body mutilation or body stimulation, like Dre was saying in chat. I think that when you've got markers on your body to remind yourself of something. So people would have scars or something to remind themselves of a physical connection to a thing, but also tattoos could remind you of a physical connection to the thing, and a kind of a detachment from the mental aspect of it and necessarily moving straight to the physical. Does that make sense, or am I being too cerebral?
It makes sense.
Okay. I tend to ramble. Sorry. No, I mean, they have body tattoo markers that can make temp tattoos. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Body tattoos type of cool. Yeah, no, I think that's a good place to start. So make a list of things that you feel are helpful for you. So that would start with like going for a walk, checking in with a friend, talking to your favorite Twitch streamer, coming onto a Discord, just listening to somebody else's voice if that helps you to refocus instead of feeling like you're stuck on those thoughts.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I feel like I'm stuck in those thoughts. Like
Yep.
that.
Yep. You
Like,
feel like in the
calm
moment you're
myself
stuck in
down.
those thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And that's I think that's pretty normal for the situation. But the good news is it sounds like you've been incredibly successful with what you've been dealt. You've developed a lot of great coping skills. You've already started the process, walking down that line of things that you need to do and help yourself be successful.
Yeah.
So now it's just a practice thing. So you've got those things. It's just it's going to be a process of learning more. As you go to therapists, they're going to give you more things to work on. They're going to help you practice those things. Have you seen a therapist before?
Yeah.
Okay. Has it been helpful before?
No, I was always angry at that therapist. I don't know why.
I don't think that's completely
This
abnormal,
was,
to be
it was
honest.
before I was getting diagnosed.
Oh, it was when you were getting diagnosed?
What?
It was when you were getting diagnosed? That's when you saw the therapist?
Yeah, it was before I got diagnosed because I got diagnosed at a psych ward.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, because my intrusive thoughts was so much that
Yep.
I have to go to a psych ward.
Yep.
And then like I keep saying that this person is gonna harm me. Yeah, and then they say that you have schizophrenia, paranoia. Yeah.
Yep. And so you started to have those intrusive thoughts with things, and yep, that's legit. How old were you when that happened?
It was 2 years ago. I think I was 27 or 26.
Okay. So you've been dealing with the diagnosis for 2 years now. How do you like to be defined? I mean, how do you like to talk about your illness? Do you like to say like, I am a schizophrenic, I have schizophrenia? Just curious.
Yeah, I'd like to say I have schizophrenia.
Okay. Yeah. I like to think that we are much different than just our diagnosis. So I like to refer to people like, I have schizophrenia. I'm not schizophrenic. So it's an interesting thing. But all right. So back to the safety thing. If you feel like you're not safe for yourself or for others, the thing that you would do is you'd work down that list. So starting at the top, the thing that would be effective for you in the moment. So like if you're having those thoughts, you're seeing symbology that's directing you to harm your cousin or whomever it might be, or harm yourself. You would literally just start down that list of coping skills one by one, and you could either keep a physical list or literally literally have the physical list, or just straight up chat about it, call a friend, mental note of it, kind of thing. Yeah. But again, I mean, it sounds like you're doing a great job thus far.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be an easy process. It's going to take time, unfortunately. We always say, like, I always say to myself, like, gosh, it sure would be great if I had a magic wand that could just fix it and make it better. But it never gets better. It takes, the work is where the process is going to be hard. Like after you have the diagnosis, like, yay, now I know it's wrong. But gosh, now I wish it could just get better, because now I have to go and work out and get my 6-pack, and you can't. It's going to take a lot of work to get that 6-pack. It's going to take a lot of work to do your stuff. But if you have a good support network around you, like people, is there anybody that you can turn to talk to, or your family supportive, or your friends supportive? You have a community that you can turn to.
No, I don't. My family, they're supportive, but like they want me to talk to a therapist.
So sometimes families get really burned out when it comes to providing care for people with mental illness or physical illnesses. Yeah. They've been dealing with it for probably 4 or 5 years at least. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
So they're probably pretty darn fatigued. And I mean, I've got empathy for that. But still, you want them to be supportive for you. You want somebody that you can turn to. Because, OMG, life is hard enough without a supportive community, am I right? Gotta have people.
They just call me like this till it. They don't know mental illness. Like they just say, like, in my language, it translates to like losing the mind. So people they just say that, oh, you just lost your mind, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And they just usually stay away from you.
What is your native language?
Hmong.
I was gonna guess Hmong. I worked with a lot of Hmong people before, and so I know like there are several cultures that they don't believe that mental illness is a thing. But so the question for me would be, or the recommendation for me would be, let's not even talk about mental illness. Let's just talk about the fact that I have this thing, and I have these symptoms. This is what I'm feeling, And Hmong is interesting too, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't one of the things in the Hmong culture, like there's a shamanistic type thing about people who are able to, are schizophrenic, or am I wrong?
I don't know. Like, my grandma, she was a shaman. But I don't think she had any mental illness.
Okay. You don't necessarily have to, but yeah. Interesting. Point being, you just need to have a supportive community. I mean, Twitch has been, I think I said this on my Daddy Can stream, but Twitch has provided us a lot of opportunity for people to have support. You find the streamers that you like to talk to, communities that you feel supported by, and you can be a part of them. But also there's lots of social media groups. Like Reddit has umpteen million subreddits of people that are also going through the same things. So that's also something you can tap into. Or looking into NAMI, looking into multiple support groups within your area. You could go to group therapies. Sometimes that's better than individual therapies. Yeah. I mean, that set therapist isn't your only option, is what I'm saying. There's other things that you can do, because you might get to that therapist and be like, I don't like you, man. I don't want to see you. So, which might suck, but I hope not. I hope it works for you.
Okay. Thanks for talking to me.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get off?
Not really.
Okay. Well, thank you for dropping into voice. I appreciate that. It's much easier than typing all this stuff out.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night. I'll be on chat.
Okay, bye.
Bye.